Hello everyone, it's NerdGasm. Back in the day, I loved me some Power Rangers. There was nothing else like it on TV for children at the time, in North America at least. Recycling footage from the Japan-based Super Sentai series, with new characters and context added in, Power Rangers was a very colorful, flashy, and action-packed superhero show that gave a lot of kids from every walk of life a sense of empowerment that they themselves could be heroes. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and all of the incarnations of the team moving forward had a similar premise. It was about a group of teenagers with attitude being given the ability to morph into costumed superheroes, armed with a variety of weapons, and could call upon and pilot unique combat vehicles called Zords that combine to form an even larger and more powerful Megazord. In order to keep their incredible powers, the teenagers would have to swear to never reveal their identities as Power Rangers to the public, and to never use their abilities for personal gain, or to escalate a fight unless their enemies did so first. Despite Power Rangers facing a lot of controversy over the years regarding its level of violence, the franchise did promote the idea of responsibility, not unlike many other iconic superheroes we know and love. I used to watch Power Rangers religiously when I was a kid, but at this point I have fallen out of touch with the series. The lore of Power Rangers is very deep and extensive, more than most people realize. My knowledge of it really only spans the eras of Mighty Morphin to around the time of Time Force or possibly even Wild Force, I don't remember, but the early 2000s. Basically, I'm a casual fan at best, very old school. If anyone out there is looking for a way to reintroduce themselves to Power Rangers, specifically that original Mighty Morphin incarnation of the team, and may not want to sit through hours and hours of the campy kids show, which by the way is available for free on the official Power Rangers YouTube channel, if you watch it, I suggest following a filler-free guide. You can always read through the amazing series of comics published by Boom Studios that started in 2016. Though there is definitely a camp factor to them as well, they do try to target more adult readers with their mature ideas and visuals. They play off the nostalgia of longtime fans of the franchise, but also make it fairly easy for newcomers to follow along too. Today, I wanted to go over and review the events of one Boom Studios storyline in particular, 2018's Shattered Grid, written by Kyle Higgins, with art by Jonas Scharf, Daniele Di Nuquello, and Diego Galindo. It is a crossover of epic proportions, featuring Power Rangers from all of its eras up to that point, taking on an evil, tyrannical despot named Lord Draken, who much like other tyrant villains in comics, such as Darkseid or Thanos, seeks universal conquest, and to amass as much power for himself as possible. I can best describe Shattered Grid as being the Avengers Infinity War or Endgame of the Power Rangers franchise, just in terms of its scale. Lord Draken had been introduced prior to the Shattered Grid storyline. He's an alternate reality version of Tommy Oliver, the Green Ranger of the Mighty Morphin team. For those of you unfamiliar with Power Rangers, Tommy Oliver, portrayed by Jason David Frank in the live-action series, is considered to be the greatest Ranger of all time. He was originally depicted as a villain, mind-controlled by the magic of the evil witch Rita Repulsa, and battled the Power Rangers using his dragon dagger that he could play like a piccolo to summon the massive Dragon Zord. Eventually, Tommy would be freed from Rita's spell and sided with the Rangers to prevent her from conquering the world, but unfortunately, Rita would use a magical green candle to drain Tommy of his powers. He would keep morphing into the Green Ranger for a while afterwards, but it was on borrowed time, as his energy levels were steadily depleting, which is why, in Season 2, Tommy would be reintroduced as the White Power Ranger that got his energy from the uncorruptible Light of Goodness. He would be given a new Zord, the White Tiger Zord, and a new weapon, the enchanted and sentient White Saber named Saber, that could speak to him. One version of Tommy from an alternate reality, though, never had the initial spell broken and remained loyal to Rita Repulsa. Well, the curse had been lifted, but it left Tommy confused, and he would drift between cities and avoid confronting the Power Rangers. Rita would find him in his disoriented state and manipulate him. She sensed greatness in Tommy, and he reminded her of a man she once knew, named Draken, who had helped her conquer planets and bring about peace. She also told him that Zordon had already chosen his 5 Rangers and had no room for a 6th. But Rita, she chose Tommy. She believes he's special. What an evil bitch. In this alternate timeline, Tommy would be christened Lord Draken, kind of like Anakin was given the name Darth Vader under the Emperor, and would help Rita conquer the Earth after 10,000 years, with her endless surplus of putties, Goldar, and some other notable Power Rangers villains. During the resulting battles, most of the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers were killed, and their power coins, the source of their power, stolen by Draken. Draken would fuse the energies of the Green and White Ranger to become a powerful hybrid of both. Draken would eventually kill and overthrow Rita Repulsa and build his own army of militarized Ranger sentries, even brainwashing the original Pink Ranger, Kimberly Hart, to become his deadly Ranger Slayer. The surviving Black Ranger, Zack Taylor, and Yellow Ranger, Trini Kwan, would form a resistance group called the Coinless that would oppose Draken and his tyranny. In our universe, the mainline Power Rangers universe, the Rangers had faced off with a Zord-like villain named Black Dragon. It had been transported to their reality by the Green Chaos Crystal, given to Scorpina by Rita Repulsa, who had been in contact with Lord Draken from the other reality, and was told it could help her defeat the Power Rangers once and for all. The Black Dragon had the power to grow in size, to fight their Zords, and even managed to absorb the powers of the Pink, Red, Black, and Yellow Rangers, using the stolen power coin of the Blue Ranger in combination with the Green Chaos Crystal to tap into the Morphin grid directly, the multiversal energy field and power source of the Power Rangers that every incarnation of the team is linked to in a specific way. Anywho, the Black Dragon is defeated and explodes in a large burst of green energy, which transports Tommy and Billy Cranston, the Blue Ranger, to Draken's timeline. It is revealed that the Black Dragon had only been a vessel to bring them there so Draken himself could deal with them. When Tommy and Billy arrive, they find giant statues erected of Rita Repulsa and the Green Ranger in the center of Angel Grove. A curfew is in place, and they are pursued by Mastodon troopers, and they find the ruins of the command center and the once mighty Zords of the Power Rangers. Tommy is lured into the depths of the ruins by a mysterious voice, revealed to be that of Saba, that he retrieves and takes with him. Having tracked their location, Lord Draken and his forces surround Tommy and Billy, and Draken removes his helmet, so who he believes to be his lesser self can gaze upon his face. Draken attempts to capture the 2 Rangers, but Saba is able to summon the White Tiger Zord as a distraction, allowing the 3 of them to escape. Later, with the help of the Coinless, Tommy and Draken would fight each other, Draken wielding the Dragon Dagger and Tommy wielding the Dragon Dagger and White Saber, and Draken's Power Morpher would be damaged, thus eliminating his abilities. The rest of the Power Rangers are able to transport themselves to Draken's timeline to rescue Tommy and Billy using the technology of the Black Dragon's armor and Green Chaos Crystal. However, when they teleport themselves back into their universe, our universe, they inadvertently pull Lord Draken with them. Draken finds himself in unfamiliar surroundings and is captured by agents of the tech and research company Promethea, allies of the Power Rangers that study and develop top-secret forms of energy, and is imprisoned in their massive complex, unbeknownst to the Power Rangers, however. Just as a quick side note, the CEO of Promethea, Grace Sterling, was a former Red Ranger, leading the 1969 incarnation of the team. It had been formed by Zordon on the eve of the U.S. moon landing to prevent the Psycho Green Ranger from freeing Rita Repulsa from her space dumpster. The mission was a success, and Psycho Green was killed, but the Power Rangers suffered immense casualties, with only Grace and Torona Washington, the Yellow Ranger, surviving the battle. Due to their inexperience, his lack of judgment, and the fact that the crisis had been averted, Zordon would force Grace and Torona to give up the power he bestowed upon them, and this soured their relationship with him. Several months after Draken was imprisoned at Promethea, he would be found by Billy. When the other Rangers catch wind of his existence in their reality, Jason Scott, the Red Ranger, would confront Grace about it, furious that she did not tell them and endangered his team. As leader, he makes the decision to sever all ties between the Power Rangers and Promethea. Draken would be approached by Saba. The Sword knows the evil he is capable of, having witnessed it firsthand in the other timeline, and tries to kill Draken with a laser attack, which inadvertently destroys his bindings and frees the villain. Draken would remove Saba's head and use the teleportation abilities of his decapitated body to travel to the Temple of Ninjor, the ancient warrior responsible for designing the Ranger's power coins, in order to have his damaged Morpher repaired and his powers hopefully restored. When it is fixed and he does morph, he feels weaker than he had been before, and infiltrates the Power Rangers Command Center to steal the Green Chaos Crystal. In the distant future, the Time Force Power Rangers are investigating a mysterious and highly unstable multiversal tear deep in outer space that has been affecting 3 other universes on top of their own. The team attempts to mend it using their Megazord, but the green, yellow, and blue Time Force Rangers get sucked inside of it. Wes Collins, the Red Ranger, tries to contain the fracture long enough for Jen Scotts, the Pink Ranger, to escape and use a transportal device to go back in time to the nexus point of the tear, trace its energy to its source. As she time travels, she sees the Megazord explode behind her, and a powerful and ominous figure reaching out for her. Back in the past, Lord Draken would find Tommy and stab him in the back with his white saber, the one missing its head, and use Tommy's pain to supercharge the Green Chaos Crystal with energy, strengthening his powers. Kimberly had been with Tommy and would attack Draken. Jen suddenly appears, and the 2 Pink Rangers from different timelines face off against Draken, but the villain manages to escape, teleporting himself back to his homeworld, his reality. Mortally wounded, Tommy would die in Kimberly's arms, and an emotional funeral is held for him 5 days later, attended by his closest family and friends. At the command center, Jen explains to the other Rangers that she is from the future and had been trying to repair a fracture in the multiverse. Every era of Power Rangers sits within its own pocket universe. These realities combine to form what she refers to as a flat plane of glass. It can still hold its form after a single crack, but if the crack gets too big and spreads, everything will shatter, essentially breaking all of existence. Using Jen's transportal device and the remains of the Black Dragon armor, Billy has found a way for the Power Rangers to cross over between the various universes, and their intention is to go to Draken's world and stop him. In Lord Draken's timeline, he has returned to his palace and meets with his aide, Finster 5, that reality's version of Finster, formerly the henchman of Rita Repulsa, who has had parts of the Power Rangers' robot assistant, Alpha 5, grafted onto him. Lovely. Lord Draken initiates what he calls his great campaign that sees him and his army of sentries powered by the stolen power coins and morphers from the Rangers of his world, traveling to other timelines across the multiverse, attacking their Rangers and stealing more power morphers. At his palace, using a special device designed by Finster 5 with the knowledge acquired from Ninjor, who had been kidnapped and brainwashed, Draken is able to use the stolen morphers to increase his power. He only needs one morpher from each Ranger team to tap into their piece of the Morphin grid. Any more than that would be unnecessary and make the absorbed energy unstable in his body. Any extra morphers he happens to acquire are used to increase the power of his army, and I love this idea. His sentries are this twisted amalgamation of all the different eras of Power Rangers, and the visual of Draken standing in front of them, surrounded by them, is striking. Lord Draken and his forces would travel to and attack Shiba House, the base of operations of the Samurai Power Rangers. The mighty Morphin Rangers would learn of this and arrive in time to save the injured Red Samurai Ranger, Lord Shiba, who had been chased and overwhelmed by several Mastodon sentries. Back at the command center, Billy links Jen's transportal technology to the command center's teleportation system, which allows Zordon to send a message to all of the Power Rangers across the multiverse. He warns them of Lord Draken and his intention of stealing their morphers. Draken's army has begun using Black Dragon cannons to disrupt the Rangers' connection with the Morphin grid, and he tells them to protect themselves and their morphers at all costs. Shortly afterwards, the Rangers receive a signal from Dr. K in Corinth, the domed city from Power Rangers RPM, the last sanctuary left on Earth following a devastating computer virus. She tells the Rangers that their city is under attack by Draken and they need assistance. She has also found a way to reverse engineer the effects of the Black Dragon cannons and restore the Power Rangers' connections to the Morphin grid. Dr. K's signal cuts out, and another one comes in. It's from the alternate universe version of Zack, from Draken's timeline. The Resistance fighters may have stumbled upon a way for them to stop Draken. Jason splits the Rangers into separate teams. Kimberly and Jen travel through the various realities in the Pterodactyl Zord to extract any surviving Power Rangers in the aftermath of battles against Lord Draken. We see that they have gathered Rangers from several eras, such as Lightspeed Rescue, Jungle Fury, Megaforce, Dino Thunder, and Dino Charge. On Corinth, Jason, Lorne, and the RPM Rangers, now immune to the effects of the Black Dragon cannons thanks to Dr. K's efforts, desperately try to hold back Lord Draken and his boosted army of wannabe Power Rangers. Realizing he has not yet obtained the energy of the RPM Rangers, called Ranger Operators, he steals the morpher and power of the Yellow Ranger, Summer Lansdowne. Facing certain defeat, Jason is forced to destroy the dome surrounding Corinth with the Tyrannosaurus Zord, disabling the city's anti-teleportation field, so all of the Rangers can retreat back to the command center and live to fight another day. Billy, Trini, and Zack had traveled to Draken's reality, the world of the Coinless, and met with the Resistance fighters there. They gather in the remains of the juice bar in Angel Grove that Draken had kept standing as a sick reminder for the Resistance that their time will come. The two Zacks from alternate realities sneak into Draken's palace with the help of Skull, who had infiltrated Draken's army, posing as one of his loyal Red Ranger sentries. Bulk and Skull were both members of the Resistance in this alternate reality, FYI. The heroes free Ninjor of his brainwashing, but during their escape, they are discovered by Finster 5, and Zack of the Coinless is killed by an energy blast. Lord Draken would learn of Skull's betrayal and break his neck. He would also contact the mind-controlled Kimberly from his universe, his Ranger Slayer, who is currently trapped in another timeline, the mighty Morphin one, but at some point in the past. However, he quickly learns that after battling a younger version of herself, she had been freed from her brainwashing. Kim threatens to return to Draken and kill him for what he's done. At the command center, Ninja reveals to the Power Rangers that Lord Draken is attempting to enter the Morphin grid itself with the vast energy he has been accumulating. With Draken growing in power, he has been putting a strain on the Morphin grid and weakening the barriers between dimensions. With these barriers in the state they're in, it allows the Power Rangers from all of the different eras to teleport themselves to the command center, where Dr. K is able to adjust their morphers so they can stand up against the Black Dragon cannons. And we've got so many familiar faces here. The Wild Force Rangers, Ninja Steel and Ninja Storm, Mystic Force, the Zeo Rangers, the Magna Defender, the Phantom Ranger, and the Red Quantum Ranger leading the pack. Something else revealed is that Lord Draken has been transmitting the energies from the extra morphers he has been collecting to his army via a giant control tower, which the Rangers will need to destroy if they have any hopes of defeating him. Surviving depowered Rangers have also been imprisoned on the moon, in what was formerly the Rita Repulsa of that universe's base, and a few of the Rangers are sent there on a rescue mission to free them. Grace Sterling proposes they take her ship, Promethea, to get there, and we come to realize that Promethea will end up becoming Terra Venture, the home of the Galaxy Rangers, somewhere down the line. To improve their chances of destroying Draken's control tower and Draken himself, I love this. Zordon goes to the Rita Repulsa of our universe and asks for her help. He'd be begging her on his knees if he had any. At first, Rita doesn't give two shits that a Power Ranger is destroying all of reality, but once she learns that Draken had killed her in the alternate timeline, she has a change of heart. When Zordon brings up the fact that her helping them save the universe would allow her to accomplish something no other version of herself across the multiverse has ever done before, that butters her up as well. The reason Zordon enlists the help of Rita is because Draken's initial powers originate from the magic of Rita, at least the one from his timeline, so she should be able to use her spells to interfere with them. Makes sense. The Power Rangers teleport themselves to Draken's control tower. Lord Draken appears and begins taking out Rangers left and right and absorbing their energy contained within their morphers into his sword. Using her bow, Kimberly would fire the late Tommy's dragon dagger at Draken, hoping to kill him with it and avenge his death, but it's easily deflected. Suddenly, Lord Draken begins writhing in pain and falls to one knee. Rita had infiltrated Draken's throne room and had used her magic to create another green candle, which drastically weakens his energy. Lord Draken would have been defeated right then and there, if not for Finster 5 saving his ass by incapacitating Rita, who had been accompanied by Ninja and Commander Kruger from Power Rangers SPD, with the staff of Lord Zed. Needing to make up for all the power he has lost from the candle, Draken orders Finster 5 to take him to the other morphers he has acquired, so he can absorb their energy. Finster 5 advises against it, as it would make his body too unstable, but Draken goes anyway, thanking Finster 5 for his service, before snapping his neck. The remaining Power Rangers continue to battle against Lord Draken's forces outside the control tower, mainly Lord Zed's massive Zord, Serpentera, that Draken had deployed to take out several of the Rangers and their Megazords. The Rangers would band together and combine their remaining Zords to form a brand new, unnamed Megazord that has the ability to increase its size using the power of the Black Dragon armor. The Megazord stabs Serpentera from behind with its sword in a very similar way to how Lord Draken had killed Tommy earlier in the story. What goes around comes around, motherfucker. As Jason pilots the Q-Rex Drill Zord and uses its weapons to attack and destroy the control tower, depowering all of Draken's sentries, an even stronger Lord Draken appears, having absorbed the power of all the remaining morphers in his possession, fully merging himself with the Morphin grid and essentially becoming a god. Lord Draken proceeds to rewrite all of reality to his liking. In a world of his own creation, he is viewed as a savior by the masses, a Superman if you will. He has kept the other Power Rangers alive, and they worship the very ground beneath his feet. Despite his near-infinite power, Draken's mind, his self-doubt, becomes his greatest enemy. He is endlessly tormented by visions of the one person he hates more than any other, Tommy Oliver. Draken had killed every version of Tommy, of himself, he had come across throughout the multiverse, and all of them, all of the Tommies, had turned good, ditching Rita for Zordon and becoming a Power Ranger. Draken's vision speaks to him, wonders if the false reality he has created is enough to shelter him from the truth, that he is the outlier. He is the flawed one, not the other way around. These intense visions begin driving Draken insane. The Tommy Oliver of the Mighty Morphin universe, our universe, had not died when Lord Draken stabbed him with the white saber, at least not technically. In this story, Tommy is brought back into existence in such a way, an immensely convoluted way, that it would make the return of Superman jealous. But you know what? That's what makes it so fucking awesome. We see an image of Tommy within a broken piece of glass, and several voices telling him it's his chance to break through the barriers between dimensions, while they are still weak. Tommy returns within Draken's reality, and one by one locates all of the other Rangers, restoring their memories and their powers. After finding Kim, he reveals to her that before the two of them had even met, before he had become the Green Ranger, the Kim from Draken's timeline had found him and pierced his body with an arrow containing a shard of the Green Chaos Crystal, which she had used to go back in time. When Tommy was stabbed by Lord Draken, the shard of the crystal inside his body was supercharged just like the Green Chaos Crystal Draken was holding. The energies from the shard would pull Tommy's body from existence, outside of time and space. Tommy introduces the Power Rangers to the Emissaries 3, entities who exist beyond the known universe that simultaneously take on the forms of various blue, red, and yellow Power Rangers from across the multiverse, who essentially watch over the Morphin grid. The Emissaries 3 had fought Lord Draken and were defeated by him when he became one with the Morphin grid and obtained one of the strongest artifacts in existence, known as the Heart of a Master, which allows its holder to reshape the very fabric of reality itself. The Emissaries 3 had escaped and traveled to the same realm outside of time and space that Tommy was located, building up their strength until they could return. Tommy and the rest of the Power Rangers fight Lord Draken with the goal being to retrieve the Heart of a Master embedded in his chest armor and hopefully use its power to undo all of the damage to the multiverse the villain has caused. Lord and Jen distract Draken with the Dragon Zord and Tiger Zord, giving Tommy an opening to reach for and grab the Heart of a Master. Tommy and Draken find themselves in some sort of astral plane. Tommy explains that he and all of the other versions of himself are stronger than Draken, not because they left Rita Repulsa and joined up with Zordon, but because they have friends and choose to open their hearts to others. Obtaining the Heart of a Master, Tommy offers to help Draken, telling him that he doesn't have to be alone, but Draken refuses Tommy's help and prefers to die as his reality crumbles around him. The Emissaries 3 arrive and portal the heroes to safety within the Morphin grid that they have reshaped to look like their command center. Using the power of the Heart of a Master, the Power Rangers are able to put everything back to the way it was across the entire multiverse, before the events of this story, before Lord Draken. But that also means everything they and all of the other Rangers have experienced, the friendships they have made, will be reset, as if none of it had ever happened in the first place. With tears in their eyes, the Power Rangers take pride in the fact that they not only saved the world this time, but all of them. And that brings us to the end of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Shattered Grid. I like this story a lot. Some aspects of it can be a bit confusing. You may not know every character in it, but I think the way it's presented makes it digestible enough, even for those out there who aren't very familiar with the Power Rangers franchise, and especially anything post-Mighty Morphin. Shattered Grid has an epic premise with some interesting ideas. The artwork in it is fantastic, and I think the villain, Lord Draken, is really cool, a dark reflection of Tommy Oliver, the greatest Power Ranger turned into, arguably, the greatest Power Rangers villain. I had a lot of fun reading this story, and it got me excited to look at more storylines from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers comic series in the future. I'd love to see if there are any that focus on Lord Zed. He's always been my favorite of their rogues gallery, so if that's something you'd like to see me cover down the road, let me know in the comments below. I want to thank you all for watching, and I hope you found this video entertaining and insightful in some way. If you'd like to show your support to me and my channel, you can do so by subscribing, hitting that bell icon to be notified when I upload new content, and by becoming a producer over on patreon.com if you can, for as little as $1 per month. I will see you all in the next one. Take care, stay safe, and always stay nerdy.